llamado al gran doxólogo y toda pera.
Hello, and welcome to Popcorn News, something to watch while you eat popcorn. Do not try to comprehend it all. Nay, just eat the popcorn. There is an old book, the state of the printed Hebrew text of the Old Testament considered. And these old books, they, instead of an S, for some reason they use an F. So, the Old Testament considered. Dissertation the second, wherein the Samaritan copy of the Pentateuch is vindicated. By Benjamin Kennicott, Fellow of Exeter College and Vicar of Coolbam in Oxfordshire. And notice the year, MDCCLIX, 1769. Again, some wife and good men? No, that's the F, you read it as an S. Some wise and good men have long seen the necessity of allowing that there may be corruptions in the printed Hebrew copies, that the Hebrew manuscripts must have been, without a constant miracle, subject to the fallibility of transcribers, and that the text of the Old Testament is therefore resettled, explained, and defended by sound criticism, like the text of all other writings, so that there is great propriety. And Bishop Berkeley, okay. Contents of the dissertation on the Samaritan Pentateuch, particularly the celebrated corruption of Deuteronomy chapter 27 verse 4. From James A. Montgomery, another old book, The Samaritans, the earliest Jewish sect, 1907. This is the Deuteronomy 27:4. And when you have passed over the Jordan, you shall set up these stones, concerning which I, Moses, command you this day, on Mount Ebal. Some say that the text has been altered to favor either Ebal or Gerizim, as the case may be. Was it the Samaritans who deliberately altered the words in order to favor Mount Gerizim? Or was it the Jews who changed things so as to favor Mount Ebal? Such a scholar as Kennicott asserts that the Samaritan reading is the correct one, but Montgomery is of the opposite opinion. And as, this is again from Kennicott, and as the printed copies of other ancient writings are generally judged more or less genuine and perfect in proportion as more or fewer manuscripts have been collated, that means they take all kinds of these old manuscripts and they look for similarities to correct the errors in each of them. So if the several transcribers of the sacred writings have erred like others, the collation of manuscripts seems the best, and indeed the only method for procuring a good edition of the Holy Bible. For is that the only volume in the world which is to be deprived of a privilege granted to all the rest? The chief argument for the usefulness of such an undertaking was founded upon the discovery of many Hebrew manuscripts which contain very material variations, and such as would render it probable that mistakes, more in number and more considerable in their nature, would appear to have been made by the Jews in their transcripts of the Old Testament, notwithstanding their so much boasted accuracy. 4. With respect to the general scheme, as it endeavors to prove that many and material errors of the transcribers have been admitted into the printed copies. Solomon's temple is presumed to have been located in Jerusalem, but there's some mystery about this. Prince Michael of Albany, controversial claimant to the Scottish throne, in his book, The Knights Templar of the Middle East, notices that how the Templars excavated under Zerubbabel's temple in Jerusalem. They were looking for the original temple. But according to Prince Michael, the original Jerusalem of Solomon, the pre-Babylonian invasion Jerusalem, was not that which the Crusaders were occupying in Palestine. So what the Templars found, their big secret, when they excavated beneath Zerubbabel's temple, was that there was no Solomon's temple to be found underneath. So where had been the original Solomon's temple? James A. Montgomery, in his 1907 book, The Samaritans, the earliest Jewish sect, notices that Mount Ebal on the north would have been thereby ill-omened, and Mount Gerizim more auspicious due to its being on the south. So this comes from the Deuteronomy chapter 27 verse 4, the contested verse, where some say Mount Ebal, some say Mount Gerizim. Furthermore, at least as of 1907, on Mount Ebal had been found only ruins of a very rude construction, whereas on Mount Gerizim had been discovered much more extensive ruins having, quote, considerable architectural importance.